Championship predictions round number 28 is what's coming up, and we'll be having a look at these midweek fixtures. It's obviously the middle of the 3-game week. Starts tomorrow. We'll be reflecting on round number 27 on the weekend and my predictions from there, and also be talking about 28 predictions. So, reflecting on round number 27, I got 3 outcomes and 2 correct spot on bob on predictions. I had Coventry to beat Leicester by 2-1. That happened. I had Sheffield Wednesday to lose 1-0 at home to Pompey. That happened. I actually put down 1-2 in that one. So thankful I scribbled it out for a 1-0 Pompey win. And then I had Ipswich to beat Blackburn 3-1. I was a goal off there. I had Hull to beat Southampton, which I think is a pretty impressive result regardless of the scoreline. And I had Oxford and Bristol City to draw, which I obviously predicted. I predicted 2-2, 0-0. I said it would be open. It definitely wasn't. But yeah, not a bad weekend from me. So let's move on into these midweek games. I'll start with Charlton versus Derby. I had Charlton to lose against Sheffield United. They beat 9 men Sheffield United. Jibril Samare and Shafa Tanganga both got sent off for the Blades, and Charlton ran out 1-0 winners. Lyndon Dykes had an impact, got an assist for the for the only goal of the game. In fact, Derby, very impressive win away at Preston. Not many teams have gone to Preston and won. I think they've only lost about 3-4 times this season, maybe at home. North End, they didn't lose often at Deepdale. North End Derby went there. Agbiang got the goal, stayed in the game, and Derby are getting better. They're in the top half now, and yeah, some very impressive wins. They're getting their players back, and they're moving up the table. Game at the Valley, that I think will be difficult. I think Charlton will take confidence in the fact they beat Sheffield United. If anything, I'll probably back Derby in this one, but I will back the draw. I'll go Charlton 1, Derby 1. Coventry versus Millwall. A big game, not necessarily in terms of maybe closing the points tally down, but this feels like a big game for Coventry. If they can get through this with 3 points, this yeah, it's a huge result, isn't it? Millwall are incredibly tricky opposition. They went to Watford and beat them 2-0 and ended their unbeaten run, which is the longest unbeaten run in the Championship up to that point. Can I see them going to Coventry and breaking that? Sort of potentially beating them? I don't think so. I think I've got to back Coventry in this one. Romain Essa will play against his former club, presumably. I can't see Millwall going there. And when I can see Millwall going there and stifling Cov and making it really tricky and making it really difficult, but I'll just edge Coventry and maybe their quality just to see them over the line. I'll go Coventry 2, Millwall 1, but I wouldn't be surprised at all 3 results in that one potentially. Ipswich Town versus Bristol City is up next. The trip for my boys, Bristol City, across the country to Suffolk, and facing an Ipswich side who've won 6 in a row at home or something stupid like that. They're motoring at Portman Road. They're not the Ipswich we expected, really, in terms of free flowing, liquid football. The team that we saw 2 years ago under Kieran McKenna, but they're a very astute, organised team that's hard to play against with Kipper and O'Shea at the back, and they're just incredibly hard to beat and incredibly hard to score against. And Bristol City you're going to go there, high press, be open, you're leaving yourselves vulnerable. Jane Villagin did go off injured. I'm not sure whether if he's going to be available for this game. They're probably not going to risk him if he's 50-50. No problem. Jack Clark's there. Then you've got Nunes, and you've got Hurst, Azon, West Burns, Casey McAtee, whoever it is, will cause problems. And I just think it'll be too much for Bristol City. And our goal scoring problems as of late have been pretty evident, despite its number actually being not bad, but it's been padded, as mentioned, by some early season goal scoring form. I think you've got back Ipswich. I'll go Ipswich 2, Bristol City 0. The game in the Championship a couple of years ago, this one was 3-2, wasn't it? That really felt like Ipswich going up, and that, I don't know, probably not going to have the same feeling, but this feels like an interesting game. Turn of Sam Morsey to Portman Road as well. Oxford versus QPR is up next. I saw Oxford against Bristol City for 93 minutes. I was displeasure of watching that particular game. I'm sure all fans would agree. Think that they were all right. Probably deserved to win the game on the balance of chances. Had a one-on-one save by Radek Vitek. A couple of big chances they missed, Oxford. So relatively decent performance. Could have easily won that. They didn't. They'll want to score more goals. Obviously, Jamie Donnelly being out isn't ideal. Lancashire's a bit hit and miss at points, but his numbers are pretty decent throughout the season. They'll bring a tough QPR side here. Got a good draw at Stoke. I think QPR will build on that. I think I'm going to back them at Oxford. Actually, I'm going to go Oxford 1, QPR 2. Preston versus Hull. Hull have just signed British City winger Yu Hirakawa on loan for the rest of the season. They take a tough trip to North End. 5th versus 6th actually in the Championship at the moment. So this is essentially two teams that are overperforming. I don't know. I think I had both of them to get relegated. So there we go. Definitely overperforming in my books. I think Preston will want to really get Derby out their system and get back on the horse, especially at Deepdale. And I think maybe having back-to-back home games is not the worst thing. And if you can beat if you can beat Hull at home, who are a direct rival, it goes a long way. I mean, we had it last season. We were sort of within touching distance of the playoffs, and we played a lot of the teams that we had at home that were in the playoff hunt with us, and we beat all of them at Ashton Gate. So home games against teams who are in and around you in that playoff picture, so important to beat, and away games important not to lose. So that's what Hull will be looking at here. I'll back North End at home, and despite Hull's fantastic win, which I called at Southampton, not the scoreline, but I called the result, I'll back North End to beat Hull at Deepdale. I'll go Preston 2, Hull 1. Sheffield Wednesday versus Birmingham is next, and this feels like I wouldn't say an opportunity for Sheffield Wednesday to get something, but yeah, maybe catching Birmingham at a relatively decent time. They did beat Coventry, did draw at Swansea, but their performance was a bit meh up until they scored. Patrick Roberts scores out of nothing. Away from home, Birmingham are pretty rubbish. Let's be brutally honest about that. But St Andrews, they're fantastic and they're pretty imperious. Sheffield Wednesday got a point early in the season at St Andrews, which is one of their more impressive results of the campaign. But I think we've got back Birmingham in this one. Sheffield Wednesday will try and want to, build up that scoreboard a little bit, but still stuck on -7. I've got back Birmingham here. I've back Birmingham slightly comfortably as well. Sheffield Wednesday 1. I think they're decent enough value for a goal at points. Birmingham 3. And Birmingham don't score many on the road this season. Swansea versus Blackburn is up next, and Swans continue their decent enough home record, and Davito Matos will be disappointed they didn't quite see the job through against Birmingham. Those opening sort of first 70 minutes, they probably felt on top, limited Birmingham to very little, and then goal changes games, and that can happen. Blackburn just got outdone at Ipswich, conceded a couple of early goals, and then the game just drifted away from them. Got the power that Ipswich off the bench. It's so hard to compete with that, so kind of understandable from a Rovers perspective. They'll want to try and bounce back, but Swans at home are pretty good and pretty consistent under Vito Matos, so I'll back the Swans. I'll go Swansea 2, Blackburn 1, which will put a lovely gap between them and Rovers, so start to look up the table, Swansea, pretty soon. West Brom versus Norwich. This feels monumental for Albion. If they lose this, 1 point behind, 1 point ahead of Norwich, and Norwich will be within touching distance of Albion. And you've got to remember, Pompey have a couple of games in hand on West Brom. Blackburn have a game in hand on West Brom, so do Oxford. There are opportunities for teams below them where the tide is rising to pick up further points on West Brom. So currently 4 points above the relegation zone. That could decrease a lot. I was actually relatively impressed with Albion against Middlesbrough. Micah Johnson at right wing back is not the show, but they can change things up, learn from his mistakes. Eric Ramsey, a little bit more time on the training ground, perhaps. Not a lot, but still. Could see something. And I think they'll see the big game factor in this. I think they'll get the job done. And I'll back against Norwich, which is unusual despite that unbelievably good win at Wrexham. I'll go West Brom 1, Norwich 0. Wrexham, who are on the hands of the defeat against Norwich, they play Leicester at home. Leicester lost the M69 derby at Coventry. There'll be a lot of deflation. There's already a lot of scrutiny within that Leicester camp, isn't there? Fans, players, etc., etc. It's just not, something's not quite ticking over there, and keeps the pressure over there at the King Power. This is not an easy game at Wrexham. They'll want to bounce back. They lost at the racecourse. They didn't lose often at the racecourse. They want to try and claw themselves back into that top 6 push, firmly into it, and I think they'll get the job done here. I'll go West Brom 1. No, Wrexham 1, Leicester 0. This is a 1-1 draw early in the season. Southampton versus Sheffield United. This feels really tricky to call actually, because Sheffield United are in really good form. Yeah, they lost against Charlton, but were down to 9 men and did have 2 huge opportunities at 0-0 when it was 11v11. And even at 10v11, you could make an argument that United could have got something, but when it goes 9, it's just that much more difficult. Southampton away. Southampton are a bad moment at the moment. There we go. Haven't won in a long time, and their last win was at home to West Brom, and that might have been Tondre Eckert's first game as permanent manager, but can't quite recall. Can't pick a winner. If this was at Bramall Lane, I'd have gone for Sheffield United, but the travel from Charlton to Southampton, yeah, I think that's not going to be easy. So I will back a draw. I'll go Southampton 2, Sheffield United 2, some fireworks maybe down at St Mary's. Watford versus Portsmouth. This was the infamous Quadro Bar game last season. I think, Watford got a last minute winner and then he did some absolutely ridiculous celebration from that away end at Portsmouth. Got himself in a bit of trouble. With those Pompey fans, I'll go for the repeat scoreline. And despite Pompey's very impressive win, only second away win of the season, their away problems from last season are seemingly carried over to this season. Watford's pretty decent home record, slightly blunted by Millwall, but a very good Millwall side. They'll want to get back on the horse. I'll back Watford. I'll go Watford 2, Pompey 1. Finally, it is Stoke versus Middlesbrough. Stoke, without Victor Johansson, have kept 4 clean sheets in a row because, yeah, that's what you do. That includes the FA Cup against Coventry. It's just what happens. They're probably the best keeper in the league, and there we go. Keep 4 clean sheets since his absence. Middlesbrough, crucial win at West Brom. You go 2-0 up, you get dragged back to 2-2, and a really good team keeps calm and then goes and grabs the third. And Delano Bergsorg, who's obviously very heavily linked with Bristol City, possibly no longer, scores a 90th minute winner to seal 3 points. Stoke in 7th. They got a 0-0 draw against QPR, didn't they? I think you've got to back Middlesbrough here because just the power of what Borough look like at the moment and the goals that's now starting again, and the little splurts they have, 4 games of scoring loads and winning, 4 games of not scoring any and not winning. They're in the middle of their 4-game winning run, so I'll back Middlesbrough purely off that. Why not? Stoke 1, Middlesbrough 2. That is my prediction at the Bet365. Thank you very much for watching this video. Let me know your predictions in the comment section down below. All 12 games would be appreciated. And yeah, all your thoughts and predictions would be appreciated as well. Be kind though. Thank you very much for watching. Keep safe, everyone. I'll catch you all later. Cheers.